Welcome to the Know. I'm Ashley Jenkins.
And I'm Gus Sorola.
Is it too late for Mass Effect Andromeda to be fixed? Bioware says they've heard everyone's complaints and they're allegedly working around the clock to make the game better. They're going to tell us more next week about how they want to make everything better. But, I mean, you kind of gotta wonder, is it too little too late?
It's been no secret that Mass Effect Andromeda has been controversial to say the least. While the game has gotten praise for its gorgeous landscapes and fun combat,
Definitely the highlights.
Lots of others have criticized the game's weird character animations, frozen faces, bad writing, and buggy gameplay.
And let's be clear, those aren't the only things in the game. Like, the combat and the gameplay is a lot of fun, but if you haven't played the game and you're in the market to potentially buy it, chances are what you've seen is the frozen faces, all the bugs, and you think it's shitty.
So it rises to the top.
Right. Bioware finally responded to all the controversy last night with a tweet addressed to its players. It said, in part, "We've received quite a bit of feedback, some of it positive and some of it critical." You think? That feedback is an important part of our ongoing support of the game, and we can't wait to share more of our immediate plans with you on Tuesday, April 4th. Wait, is this from Andromeda or is this from Mass Effect 3?
Ouch. Okay, so they're basically saying, thanks for the beta testing our game for $60. Don't worry, we'll fix it all next week. I don't even think they're saying that. I think they're saying, we'll tell you how we're gonna do.
Eventually.
Yeah.
So it really is kind of an echo of Mass Effect 3, where angry gamers revolted over the game's ending, and then Bioware immediately announced an add-on called the Extended Cut, but people still weren't happy because even a patch couldn't have fixed the substantive problems everyone had with the ending. They could improve it a little bit, but not change it all that much.
Could we be looking at something similar with Andromeda? After all, what can Bioware fix at this point, and will it be enough to make gamers happy? We'll obviously know more next week, but they've already got a list of known issues that they're working on. For instance, there are some pretty glaring bugs in the game. Your squad mates might repeatedly teleport on top of you, or they might follow you even when they're told not to.
With the worst. So
bad.
Annoying, right?
Also, the game doesn't save enough during main missions, and some progression events are failing to trigger.
I had an issue last night where all the Remnant turned invisible.
Ooh, that's tough.
Yeah, although everything except for their glowing red eyes, so I still had something to shoot them by.
Shoot them between them.
Right. As for the game's performance, the screen apparently feels stretched in both 4:3 and 5:4 resolutions, and the game might crash if you run it in 16:9 or 16:10 portrait display mode. So, that's you.
5x4?
Yeah, look, not common, but it happens. Some people have weird monitors.
5x4?
Look, you don't need to resolution shame right now, Gus.
But that's...
I know, I don't know who's possibly running it in 5x4.
Why not have a square 4x4 at that point? Or 1x1, I mean, at that point.
I'm playing the game on Instagram.
Yeah. So those are just a few things that Bioware is working on. And where do you even get a 5x4 monitor? I mean, I don't blame the game for not working on that, because I didn't know that existed until 10 seconds ago.
Maybe Bioware didn't either.
So those are just a few things that Bioware is working on. And while it's clear that they've heard the other complaints at this point, the developer is probably limited in what it can fix. While Bioware might be able to clean up some cutscenes, don't expect a patch to fully fix all the bad character animations.
Maybe some of the worst, but definitely not all.
Or, you know, the stilted writing. Because that would mean making a whole new game, which they might be doing also.
They're like, now announcing Mass Effect Andromeda 2. But look, Bioware's hardly the first developer to try and fix a dumpster fire of a game. Rainbow Six Siege had boatloads of issues. Ubisoft released a huge patch as late as last month to fix issues ranging from players sometimes spawning as immobile drones to not being able to crouch and melee simultaneously. So that ongoing support does happen, and the story of games continues to be written after launch, but it's a much harder story to write once the game's out.
And of course, anybody remember Final Fantasy XIV? That MMO was so badly received by players and critics that Square Enix had to completely shut the game down and re-release it with a new title, A Realm Reborn.
I remember that.
The updated version is definitely better, but at the time, some people had wondered if Square Enix had permanently damaged the franchise.
Of course, the most controversial game in recent memory is everyone's favorite boring space sandbox. No, not Mass Effect Andromeda. No Man's Sky. That game was hyped bigger than its procedurally generated universe with its trillions of planets, or whatever. But when it finally came out, it underwhelmed almost everyone. And unfortunately, that's the comparison that a lot of people are now making. Not that there's no gameplay in Mass Effect Andromeda, but that it's a letdown.
But in contrast to what Bioware is doing, developer Hello Games basically went radio silent after the first week of release and didn't share anything about what they were doing to fix the game, but over the long haul they've been adding major content updates to try and flesh out their creation.
And by all reports, a lot of them are making some huge improvements. I mean, just anecdotally speaking, got a 13-year-old at home, Teddy, and he keeps loading up No Man's Sky to play it with the Foundation update, and he's having quite a good time with it. Actually, one of the planets was really pretty too, so go figure.
They patched in pretty.
Right, but that doesn't seem like the road that Mass Effect Andromeda is going to go down. In their tweet, BioWare says that developers are listening and working around the clock to gather information and plan out solutions to improve and build on Mass Effect Andromeda.
So what might we get in future updates? Paul Tassi of Forbes provided his own wish list that includes fixing the worst animations, streamline the crafting system, fix the major bugs, overhaul the quest and navigation UI, and clean up the endgame.
You know what I would like? Cut down the currencies.
There's so many currencies.
We don't need that many currencies.
Oh my god.
There's like 3 or 4 different research points, and then you have to have all your platinums and your I don't know, graphites and everything, and then you also have to have like was it like mission funds for strike teams, and
multiplayer alone has 3 different currencies.
We don't need them all. But honestly, even all of the stuff that we've seen on Wishlist is a pretty tall order. We're not going to get it short term. Ultimately, all the patches in the world probably won't address the fundamental issues that people have with Andromeda, which are the crappy animations. Those can only be fixed so much in post. Otherwise, they probably would have fixed them before the game came out. And a sometimes poorly written plot that doesn't feel all that much like a Mass Effect game. And that's also really spotty. Some parts of it are really nice and subtly done, and then some parts, they tell you that rocks float 4 times.
I laughed actually earlier at a line. It was good. It was like a funny line. Yeah,
good job, guys.
Well. Also at the end of the day, could it be too late for Mass Effect Andromeda to find its audience? Even though it's only a week old, it already feels like impressions of the game being a disappointment have solidified, and it's going to be hard to win back gamers, especially after expectations were so high, again, just like No Man's Sky.
Right. Not to mention, it is a really, really crowded field right now. If your game doesn't impress people immediately, they can move on to Zelda Breath of the Wild, or Horizon Zero Dawn, or Nier Automata, or Persona 5 is about to come out, and like a million more. The bottom line is that there are a lot of options if Mass Effect Andromeda already disappointed and you wrote it off.
Especially in what is normally considered a slow part of the year for games.
Yeah, this is a really good problem for us as gamers to have, but still.
At any rate, we'll know more next week, but it's a pretty safe bet there will be a lot of really frazzled programmers over at BioWare Montreal right now.
Yeah, overall, look, I hesitate to say I like the game. I'm playing the game, and I keep playing it, and I will go home and I will play it some more tonight. So there's something that's compelling me about it. But it's definitely 3rd, if not 4th, in my overall Mass Effect rankings.
Yeah, I'm still playing it.
Do you think Mass Effect Andromeda can be fixed? What would you like to see in a patch that would do it for you? Let us know in the comments.
And for all your Mass Effect news, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the know. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go buy a 5x4 monitor.
Like, seriously, I would be very curious to
5x4 monitor. It's been no secret that Mass Effect Andromeda has been controversial, to say the least. While the game has gotten praise for its gorgeous landscapes and fun combat, and teleprompters that don't scroll,